How you doing, guys? So I did a poll recently on the channel asking basically if what direction people wanted to see more videos going in. And the options were mindset, tactics, skill, and gear. To my not surprise, I guess I'm happy to find out that most people wanted to see mindset. That was where most of the votes went. So this is kind of gear slash mindset. This is a video about what is in my daughter's bag when she goes to scout camping trips, when she goes on scout hiking trips. Now, full disclosure, the one bag was not in her bag this weekend when she recently went on a trip. But for the most part, this is what kind of goes with her, kind of on the same mindset of what goes with your wife, what's in your wife's car, what's in your car. So this is a breakdown, basically the things that she keeps with her on a regular basis when she's on scout camping trips, and what she brings with her every day to school. Coming right at you guys. Alright guys, so this is a breakdown of the stuff that she brings with her for scout trips. For the most part, they're two overnight campings. They get there usually on Friday. They're overnight Friday night, Saturday night, come home Sunday, so it's not that many days. The one kit is something that she put together with me when she first joined Scouts. It was definitely way overboard for what she needed for Scouts at the time, for Cub Scouts, but it also kind of checked the whole list, and I just kind of shoved it in her bag. And for the most part, it goes with her on most of her camping trips that she goes on, and that's right here. So this is an SOE large mesh pouch. I had an extra one of. And in here was basically trying to cover all the bases of what they wanted them to have with them for these trips, and then school. So to start with, let's see what's in this pack right here. All right, so this has a bunch of just survival bars. They're actually not bad tasting bars. I don't know if I could force her to eat these, but my guess, if she had to eat them, she could, and she would survive the experience and she wouldn't grumble too bad. Well, she would, but she'd get over it. So that's in this pouch here. This is a free pouch I got for one of the promotions that we ran. Hot hands. These get used up and replenished. I think it's important to have something like this because, believe it or not, your scouts' happiness, not happiness, but their attitude can change dramatically just by eating something, drinking something, or keeping their hands warm. And you can put these in boots. You can do a lot of things. I mean, they're hot hands. What else do we have in here? These are water purification tablets. That's what these are right here. No, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. No, these are fire starters. My mistake. So these are fire starters to help start a fire. We've got Afterbite, for if you get stung, or bit by something and you're getting irritation, so you don't break it open with your nails. One of these light up reflectors that still works. I've gone over these before on the channel. I just show these in my wife's car. They're just a handy thing to have. Like if you were lost in the woods for real, this would be very, very useful. Just a cotton handkerchief of some kind. The uses for this go into great minutia. Like you can do 1,000 different things with these things. It's good to have a cotton one. You can also use it for pre-filtering water, for wiping your nose, for covering your mouth. There's a million different uses for it. I'm sure there's many channels that do a much better job than I would explaining the uses of that product. A life straw. Life straws are not ideal by any means. Why? Because you have to basically get your face near the water you're trying to filter and drink from. Also, it requires, think of a milkshake. If you ever got a milkshake that was a little too thick, that's kind of what this is, trying to suck the water through the life straw. What else do we have in here? More fire. This is a neat thing. So this is a fire starter. Basically has a ripcord, and you tie one end down and you yank the other, and it starts a fire. Jaeger did a video on these a long time ago, probably 2 years. He did a video where he camped out and he actually started a fire with one of these. And they say they burn for 30 minutes. I think he got 15 to 20 minutes out of it. But the good thing about it is, with some fire starters, Yes, they're going to burn. Yes, they will get your tinder on fire. But if you have really dry wood, your fire is not necessarily going to last. This kind of thing, because of the length of time you get out of it burning it, this would dry out your wood as well, and it would have a much more successful fire long-term overnight. So that's this. Still on the fire kind of mindset, waterproof matches, Bic lighter, which still works, and a flint and steel fire starter. And basically what you do with this is you push it down and it creates sparks. I was not terribly happy with these and how they performed, but in a pinch it will work. Chem-Lite for obvious reasons. We have a couple carabiners in here, and we have a paracord bracelet, but more importantly, a whistle. That's more important to me, honestly, on here than anything else. This one doesn't have a blade or anything like that. There you go. So what is this thing missing, for scout requirements? It's missing a compass, which isn't in here, which I believe must be in a pack somewhere else. What are the different things that this is missing that it needs to have to be complete? And what could I break down out of this that isn't necessary? Quite honestly, we don't need this. We probably don't need this. I would stick with just this for fire starting, and maybe a couple of these. Carabiners, there's too many uses for it. She also needs some paracord, which she has it here, but trying to unspool one of these bracelets can be a pain in the butt. Glow stick for sure, this for sure, this for sure, pot hands for sure, this for sure, this for sure, and maybe that. That stuff could go. But that's probably about what I'll wind up keeping in this pouch. And the reality is stuff has been used out of it and not replaced. And that's something that, all of us kind of do. It happens. You're on a trip, you get home from a trip, you're exhausted, you're tired, you're dirty, you've got a complaining kid. The last thing you're thinking about is, oh, what did we use out of the first aid kit? Like, for sure, her first aid is out of here. Basic first aid, which is no longer in here because that's been used. So that's basically, that pouch and what's in it. So all in all, she has some of the basics covered, but she definitely is lacking in some things. One of the things that I've added this year to her bag that goes with her is this. So I'm gonna get the camera a little bit closer and break it down. This is from Refuge Medical. This is like their first aid kit. I don't know what they call it, to be honest with you. I can't remember. But I'm gonna break this down and show you all what's in here and kind of go over its components and why I think it's a nice design and a nice set coming right at you. All right, guys, so now we're at the tabletop. So this is from Refuge Medical, Bear Independent. This is kind of the idea behind this, from what I gathered, was to have in your wife's bag, or to have in a cabinet, or to have in a vehicle. This isn't for major bleed. This is basically for first aid plus. Okay, so on the outside of the pouch, we have a sleeve here, and in here is an elastic bandage. So basically, this is kind of like a SWAT tee. They are very nice for basically creating a pressure bandage. You put your bandaging on, you tape it down, and you wrap that around. Not only does it keep your cut waterproof or resistant, but it also does a really good job of keeping a constant compression on the wound. So if you had a major cut, it's a good deal. Here we have an H&H compressed bandage. So this is basically an Izzy Light by H&H. It's very thin. There's a very small gauze pad. It doesn't have the absorbency of some of the other ones, but it's very, very thin, so it fits easily. In here we have some different meds. We have after sting relief. We have antiseptic wipes. We have triple antibiotic ointment. I believe you also in here have ibuprofen. This is basically to take care of, and burn gel. So this is basically to treat your cut that you may or may not receive. Band-aids. of different sizes and shapes. You know, like ones for knuckles, places where it's kind of hard to get a normal Band-Aid to stick. We've got 2 pairs of the Bear Claw Nitro gloves. I don't think there's anything wrong with these Bear Claw gloves, but in the reality is trying to deploy these after they've been kind of compressed for a long period of time is a nightmare. So these will either be getting opened up or replaced by the ones that I put in all my kits. Then we get into the guts of the kit. So what else we have in here? Oh, and we have a thing of medical tape. It's like inch and 1/4 tape. And that's basically the contents. You can kind of see how the zipper works. It kind of has like an overlap. That way it stays relatively more, water resistant. It is made of Cordura, so that is very water repellent. It's not waterproof, but it'll keep most of the contents dry. Between that and the Ziploc bags they have everything in, I think you're in a good shape. Opening this up, let's see what's in the main bag that's in this kit. So in the main bag that's in this kit, what do we have? We've got some different gauze bandages. We have a thing of 200-mile-an-hour tape. I think it's like 6 feet or something like that. We have an abdominal pad. So this is a very large bandage for a large wound across the belly or what have you. A thing of Curlex. Splinter out. And this would be no, these are Steri strips. And there's another thing of Curlex in here. So that's basically what you have in here. Like I said, this is not meant to treat major injury. This is meant to be basically first aid kit plus. So what would I add to it? What would I change? Oh, and a Sharpie as well. What would I change? What would I add to it? I would definitely add a different glove, or at least get those gloves out and unrolled, because as it stands right now, if you needed to really get those out in a hurry, it would be tough. But you have a lot of stuff for the size of the pack. It is a small size, so I think I like the way it's designed. I like the intention behind it. I think the contents are high quality. Their Refuge Medical does not chintz on the products they put in their kits. Everything is top end. Is it a little on the expensive side? Yes. But almost anything you delve into medical wise, unless you're getting stuff off Amazon, which you're never really sure what you're getting, you're going to be looking at the same, price points. So that's basically what's been riding in her pack recently for anything where, as a first aid supplement, and in my eyes, every kid should have it. Now I'm going to show you something else that she has in her pack, first aid wise. Now this goes in her school bag on a regular basis. Coming right up, guys. Before we get on to the final thing that I was going to go over that she has in her school bag, I wanted to just go over this. So this is an SOE zippered knife pouch. You've seen them before on the channel. And my daughter has her power bank in here. And I guarantee you what goes through some people's heads is, well, why does your kid need a power bank? So, like it or not, one of your basic needs is the ability to call for help, right? Now, granted, in some areas that are a little more austere, you're not going to have much cell coverage. I understand all those things. But the ability to call for 911 and not really touching on the whole idea of whether your kids should have a phone or not, but I think they should have the ability to call for help. So this is also there to keep, I think, the other assistant scoutmasters sane, because the kids are allowed to go on their phones, and if one kid's not allowed to go or doesn't have the ability to go because they didn't charge their phone, it's going to be a shitty day. So that's what this is there for. This goes with her. It's a power bank. It can charge your phone, I think, 4 times. This is one from Anker. It's the same one I use all the time. I trust their products. Anker makes great stuff. So I just want to quickly touch on that, because that kind of completes this line of things. And this is what goes with her every day in her school bag. So this is a Recon Medical. This is one of their IFAKs. one of their bleed kits, and you could buy them with this red canvas bag as an option. I think it's a great idea because one, everything's organized, everything's out of its packaging, and you're not dealing with something where, you're having to break the plastic to break other plastic to get to what you need. So same contents that I've gone over a million times in every other one of these. It comes with tourniquets. I have a rats in here. I also have a windlass in here. This is a Rescue Me. You guys know what they're for. But basically, it's a full IFAK Plus. I have 2 rats tourniquets in here. The reason for the double rat tourniquets is the simple fact that, no, 1 rat tourniquet. The reason for the rats tourniquet is simply because of the fact that you're dealing with kids. And put all the hate out you want, I really don't care. They're there for the simple reason that some kids, a windlass tourniquet is not going to crank all the way down on a limb if they're thin enough. That's the point of having the rats. There's also windlass as a Recon Gen 4, and it has other stuff that she doesn't know how to use yet, and probably, unless she gets a first responder, most other adults aren't going to know how to use. But there is a dart in here, there are chest seals in here, there's a rescue blanket, compressed gauze, an Izzy bandage, there's also an NPA, there's also a set of trauma shears. So it's basically an IFAK, a full IFAK, and this is in her pack because the reality is we've had these incidents in schools where the reality of it is, and enjoy the lovely airplane noise as it goes overhead. Reality is this, is that first responders won't enter the school until after the scene is safe. So the reality of the situation becomes you could have someone that was bleeding out for 45 minutes before an EMT is going to be able to get to them. Do I think my daughter could save someone's life with this? Yes. Do I think it's more likely that there's an adult there that could save someone's life with this? I sincerely hope so. More and more schools are doing stop to bleed classes. So anyway, so that's the reason why that's in her bag. It is in the front pocket of her backpack every day when she goes to school. She's been carrying it for over a year now in her bag, and that's kind of the philosophy of why it's there. That's it, guys. So what's in your kids' pack? What are you sending them to school with? What are you sending them away on trips with? Overnights. You're trusting other adults to keep your children safe, but the reality is, do they have the training to do so? Should your kid be a little self-sufficient when it comes to that kind of stuff? I think it's something we all have to consider, something we all have to mull over. This thing needs stuff put back in it because it's not complete. This, short of gloves, is very complete. I have no doubt that short of needing an EMT, someone could respond to any kind of first aid incident, like let's say a slipped knife or an axe or a burn, with this product right here from Refuge Medical. They make good shit, and it's made in the U.S. Support them. It's important to support companies from the U.S. Is this frivolous? Is it necessary in this day and age to have the ability to charge your medical devices? I think it's getting to the point where it's kind of a necessity, in my opinion. And then you have this, like, what does your kid go to school with every day? Do they know how to use any of these items? Have they seen them used before? It's kind of tough with kids because we want to thrust them into this thing, and I think we get just as much blowback from them as we do from our spouses, depending on your spouse. I've gotten my spouse over that hump. I'm slowly getting my daughter over that hump. And she is kind of that mindset, she wants to help. So that's that, guys. I really hope that this video, like all my videos, gives you something to think about. I hope it gets your brain working, and maybe it will inspire you to do something similar for yourself and for your family. Because the reality is mindset. You have to be thinking that way. And it's not that you want doom to come, but you need to be prepared if something happens. And yes, this is gear based, obviously, because I just showed you a bunch of stuff. But I think it's mindset too. Your mindset of where your priorities, about what your family has to take care of themselves. And I think that's something that we need to do more for our kids. We need to make them more self-sufficient and kind of show them that they can be, because a lot of kids are just helpless. what are they going to do if something horrible happens? Are they going to freeze? Are they going to run? Are they going to cry? If you never expose them to any of that, and I'm not saying you throw your kids into a dangerous situation, but if you never expose them to that mentality, they don't know how they're going to react. Most kids are able to overcome those things, but they have to do hard shit to do that. So that's it. I hope, like I said, I hope this kind of gets your gears turning. That's the point of all these videos, is to get your own brain working about what you want to do with you and your family. That's the point of all these things. So that's it, guys. I hope you're having a good Sunday. I hope that you are doing something productive. I have been very unproductive this weekend. But I didn't want to do this. I forced myself to do this because I would have rather waited to the week, but I wanted to get it knocked out of the way. So I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope you're having a good Sunday. And remember, guys, your path is out there. Go find it.